So I'm all about embracing your natural hair texture, so I'm so glad you landed on this vlog. So what I'm going to show you today is I'm using human hair, and I'm going to show you 4 different texture styles that you can create on your own wigs. So the first one is going to be for a tighter curl pattern. I'm using a curling iron that measures 3/8 of an inch. Whenever you're curling in the front or around the face, you want to make sure that you direct the curl away from the base. And I actually like to just wrap the hair around the curling iron, like you see here. You never want to take a section that's wider than the tip of your curling iron, so that's kind of your size guide. So once I let it heat up for just a few seconds, I release it and then I have my curl. What I do like to do too is separate the curl a little bit just to get some more texture. So I'll take it and split it in 2 or 3. My next texture pattern is going to be more of a larger barrel crimp. So I'm going to be using this iron that has 3 barrels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a horizontal section like this. I'm going to start close to the root, as close as I can. I press down on the iron and then I move to the next spot. So you're going to replace the iron where you left off, right about here. And then I actually don't re-curl the ends. I leave those out just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it right about here, but I'm not going to crimp those little bits of ends that are left. This is a great texture if your hair is naturally curly, but you want to change it up a little bit. It also gives you that natural look. So my next curl pattern is going to be a tighter crimp, and I'll do that right about here. I'm going to create just a smaller section so you can see the difference between the larger crimp pattern and the smaller. The next tool that I'll be using is this ion rotating crimper. It's really cool. You actually use it like a flat iron. You want to hold on to the ends and you just pass it through the hair. And it starts leaving those little bits of creases. This is a really nice texture if your hair is naturally very tightly curled and you're using a relaxer or you straighten it. This gives you that natural textured look. Any of these techniques can be used on heat-friendly synthetic fiber as well. If you feel like this texture is a little too pronounced or too obvious, you can take your flat iron and just press over it just a touch. And that'll soften it up. You can even just pass through it just so slightly to where it smooths it out just a little bit. The last method that I'm going to be using is actually a little more of a DIY. So I'm going to take my rat tail comb like this, and I'm going to use my flat iron. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small section of hair, and I'm going to actually wrap it on my rat tail comb. I'm going to take my flat iron and press over that hair. You want to make sure that you're evenly distributing that heat so that it gets all the way around that hair. Now that I've done that heat method, I'm going to pull that out and you'll notice how tight of a curl pattern that is. And then I can take my fingers and just split that to create a tighter texture. So I really hope you loved those 4 texture techniques. I really hope you enjoyed the vlog, and please comment any questions. Bye.